So I decided to take a political compass to see, where I stand on, my views. I mean, personally, I kind of am sort of sympathetic towards the Danish type of government because I'm sort of a believer in this idea of social democracy. Welfare if you don't have a job, and but um, but also pro decentralization of government because then I think it's better because then uh, each district or something can be more efficient at job market, and I feel centralization doesn't do that much. But I guess some people disagree with that. But I think that's at least that makes mostly sense to me. But I'm gonna see ideologically just to read here. Let's see. Test. Before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey and these aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or moderation on the compass. Your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices, rather than detailed opinions on policy. Page 1 of 6. Just a few propositions to start with, concerning, no less, how we see the country and the world. Okay, let's see here. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I strongly agree. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Disagree. I mean, I don't like the idea of being a traitor, but if it's morally wrong, then I can't support it. It's sort of like, how to say it though. Like, I mean, if let's say my country was into autocracy, then I would not support it. I would support like a faction against the country itself. I would not support anti-democracy means. So that's my answer. I would say disagree because I wouldn't say strongly disagree, but I'll say disagree because I would just not agree if it was wrong. So that's my answer. Uh, no one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say strongly agree. I mean, it is kind of stupid. I mean, I think you should be proud of who you are, what you represent, what values you are. So yeah, it's kind of dumb to choose, to be proud of some genetic case. I mean, if the values are good, then yeah, being proud of it is good. But it's foolish to be proud just because you live in a country. I think that's stupid. So blind nationalism, or as Oscar Wilde says, patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. Um, I think someone else said something similar, but in history. But yeah, I think it's foolish. Strongly agree. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Strongly disagree because I believe more in biology. So so I think that what type of motivation you have, learning skills you have, that can improve. With time, what you dedicate yourself to, what you improve in terms of culture and work. For example, I think if like a culture have more of a devotion culture to something that doesn't help society, then it can stagnate. For example, to something like I guess I'm not going to mention too much, but in a sense, it has nothing to do with race. I think it's this whole eugenics in the past. I think was stupid and authoritarian. So yeah, so I don't agree. It's mostly biology. I think what you develop as a character. Okay. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I guess I can say agree because you never know. Kind of vague answer, I guess, but I'm just gonna say agree. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Huh. Let me see. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. That was tricky. That was a tricky one. Um, uh, nah, I'm gonna say I disagree. I mean, I know politics can be kind of in the dark sometimes, but I think you should try to try to. I mean, Geneva Convention exists for a reason, so I think you should, try to be humane. So I was just gonna say I disagree. But if you like, let's say you face like someone who is like autocrat or something, then I'm just gonna say disagree. I think you should at least try your best to at least keep the peace that way. So yeah, there is now a varying infusion of information and entertainment. Um, I mean, hasn't it always? Uh, Strongly agree or um, I guess I can say strongly agree because I guess internet or World Wide Web has made it easier accessible. That's the only difference. But the information and the entertainment has always been infused since the history of man. So I'm going to say strongly agree. Let's see. Now, the economy we are taking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Let's see. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. Well, um, I mean, um, I do consider nationalism or ethnic violence to be irrational, um, but whether that's true, that's another question. Um, in terms of divided more by class, uh, I wonder whether they're looking for emotional or factual answer here. um, I guess I'm just gonna say strongly agree because that's how I feel. So I don't care about nationalism, so I guess I'm gonna say strongly agree. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Um, Strongly disagree, I guess. Um, or let me think. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I mean, it's not kind of the same thing. I don't know. I'm gonna say disagree because if it's gets prices get too expensive, then I guess you're just gonna have to fire people. So I don't know. I would say disagree because even if you control inflation, I feel it's just a little bit trick question because I feel that if you don't, it's important to try to make it both work. So I'm just going to say disagree on that one because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. They require regulation. Strongly agree because yeah, the whole idea of business is profit. So yeah, I agree. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea. Um, I'm gonna say disagree because teamwork is what matters. Nobody wins alone, even if you think you are, it's good to know. Sometimes you don't want to think, you just want to go and do something, but in the end, it's overall teamwork of a tribe or a civilization that helps. So it's now how you do it is another case of a model of society, but in the end, you obviously do need people to help you out, so you can't do everything alone. So I disagree. Maybe I should say strongly disagree because I think it's not accurate. The freer the market, the freer the people. I guess. I mean, Russia and China are like free markets, and they aren't actually free. So I disagree. Um, But I don't know. I'm just gonna say disagree because I don't think it's true. Um, but it's good with with I don't think like having like a state regulated capital is helping either. But yeah, it's a good with in terms of spreading the wealth and such. I believe in free markets, but I don't think that it's making them free. But it's a good overall. But I'm just gonna say disagree because authoritarian model, whether it's secular or religious or something like that, is always going to be a problem either way. So it's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Um, um, I gotta disagree because I don't care about the. If you want to buy it, then that's fine. But I do think water should be free. So I don't know. I I guess maybe I should say agree because I do think water should be free. So if that's the question, then I agree with that. Because I do think tap water should be free. So water shouldn't be. It should be free for everyone. So I agree on that. But on the same time, I don't mind the drinking water in store. But I'm gonna say agree because I think that's what they're asking here. Um, or at least that's sort of the assumption, I guess. Land should be a commodity to be bought and sold. Well, I'm gonna say agree, I guess, because people live there. But in the end, though, what type of government you get is unfortunate. Whoever wins a war. So, but yeah, in a sense, I guess I agree that you shouldn't like invade countries. Maybe I should say strongly agree because I don't believe in the whole old idea of empires and such. So, I guess I'm gonna say strongly agree on that one. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I strongly agree because yeah, I do think there should be fairness in trade. So yeah, I agree. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Disagree. Um, at least I think I disagree because in the end, I mean, I guess sanctions can be needed if a country it has a horrible regime. I guess, but it's I don't know. Let me think on that one a little bit. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Um, um, protectionism. Uh, uh, I guess I sometimes do agree with sanctions, so I'm gonna say agree. But only if there's valid reasons. Either way, I don't agree with it for the corporate just to get rich out of nothing. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Hmm. Um, I strongly disagree. You should also make a good quality product, so I don't agree on that. The rich are too highly taxed. Disagree. I mean, all they do is essentially, with right-wing government, um, they kind of actually do sell kind of more out, I mean, they're just looking after themselves. They don't care much about people as much as selling themselves out to just get rich. So I don't agree on that one. So I'm just gonna say disagree because at least with the general state of the world. So Nah, I don't agree. Those with the ability to pay. So my recording got a little bit shorter. Okay, so let's continue where we start. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. No, I strongly disagree. I think people who should, um, in general, they should. I mean, you should get well if even if you aren't rich. I think that's stupid. Um, so yeah, I don't think this is right. I think this is kind of a class thing just to put people in like, okay, you don't have money, screw you. I don't agree with that at all. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. I strongly agree because I mean maybe not, but I'm sure. I mean it's a little bit hard because if it's like the typical autocrat who the type of base who doesn't dwell on facts and in a sense just dwell on this all crazy conspiracies and just lies all the time. Like angry rhetorics, the molding Trump base, for example, the people who just are upset about everything and live their life in despair and just can't get any grip on any form of reality. I mean, uh, but then again, this could mean that autocratic government could do this too. So I guess I'm going to just say disagree because again, I just believe in facts and actual facts, not. But yeah, I guess this is probably the question about censorship too. But if there's like literally people who use censorship, even though they claim they are, against censorship, I mean that's a lie because, I mean, for Trump people are not against censorship; they are pro censorship. They just try to use their advantage. They're kind of like the people who just go into a store and yell about censorship and being annoying and telling just stupid things, and then the store owner kind of has to tell them to kindly leave. That's kind of just my impression of the Trump base. But every time, like they're just stupid stuff. Like the whole idea of law and order, and then they go with the whole January 6th, 2021 thing with Capitol Hill, right? They're just hypocrites. And I mean, I know that sometimes hypocrisy is kind of a thing with both sides. But the difference is democracy is not trying to be autocracy like the Trump wave is, which is obviously leader worship and just angry rhetorics. It's just not logical at all. But just to go with optioner, disagree because I definitely don't believe in the whole idea of yeah in general. Just at least with the same people, I don't believe so. But yeah, I'm gonna say disagree. Um, a genuine a genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Let me see here. A genuine free market require restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals uh, to create monopolies. Um, I'm gonna say agree. I think so at least. I mean, if it gets too big, then I guess it can be dangerous. So I'm just gonna say agree. Now, I'll look at some of your personal social values, okay? Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Uh, strongly disagree. Uh, Now, this is the reason because I kind of have more the Goldwater approach to it. Barry Goldwater. I read about this guy. He believes, that abortion should not be a political issue; it should be a personal issue, and I strongly agree with his views on that because I kind of consider abortion to be sort of like, when they take out the tube from someone in a coma and they die. I think it's sort of the same way with abortion, with a baby who gets killed in abortion. But the difference is, obviously the guy in coma could be there forever, and a baby gets birthed in like 6 to 9 months or something. I mean, I guess, I guess that I haven't looked that up on the internet, but I think I'm just assuming here. But the point is, though, I know there can be traumatization with rape and lots of other factors here. So I'm just, I think it, even if abortion was banned, they could just fall down some stairs, miscarriage, woohoo. So I strongly disagree. Should always be illegal? No, I don't agree. Because I think this is more a personal issue. I don't think it should be a political issue. I think it's more of a clown show in the 80s with the Reagan and such. So I think it's stupid. I don't really care what people talk about this. But yeah, but I'm not saying there is anything there. I'm not saying that abortion can't have no moral hot topics. I just don't agree with the whole politicization of it. It's just stupid to me. Um, all authorities should be questioned. Uh, I mean, I agree, but I don't agree with the whole hyper skeptical approach of just agreeing to the whole idea of being stupid. You know, like oh, why does the government do this? Why can't say anything we want and be kicked out of a store? Why can't we do that? That's when you're just nuts. The molding Trump base who get mad about everything and have no rational reason. It reminds me of that South Park episode with FedEx. The angry people just we're the angry party. So yeah. But I say I agree because I don't believe you should be allowed to question, but it should not be because of stupid reasons. So I'm gonna say agree. An eye for an eye, and tooth for a tooth. Strongly disagree. I don't believe in revenge, or at least morally, I don't believe so. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I mean, I like theaters, I guess. I mean, I'm gonna say I disagree because I mean I like theaters, so cool. I'm just gonna say disagree. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Uh, Strongly disagree. I mean, if you don't show up, then then you're not reliable. So that's the rules. So I'm just gonna say strongly disagree. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. Strongly disagree. Eugenics sucks. And Hitler sucks. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly disagree. Speaking from experience. It's natural for I guess I'm gonna say it because physical abuse is not cool. Traumas. I think it's kind of stupid with right wingers who think like exposing people, children to weird stuff is gonna traumatize them. But no, I actually think physical violence and threats is actually more damaging. I mean, maybe some environments can change a little bit on certain people, but not to the level of actual threats of violence. And yeah, so yeah, basically, traumatization of violence is actually way worse. Um, it's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I mean, yeah, they do. uh, Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I guess I'm gonna take a unpopular taker, but I don't really believe in drugs. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna say disagree because yeah, I just uh basically I don't want it to be popular or something. That's all. I think yeah. So you may call me backwater here, but I'm just not gonna. I just don't believe in drugs. I'm just gonna say disagree because I mean, I guess science is different, but yeah, I just don't believe in the whole idea of getting high on something, just for the sake of it. But yeah, but yeah, I guess you could argue in social circles, but I'm just gonna say disagree. So yeah, that's my take on. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Uh, yeah, I mean, I strongly agree. I mean, why else would you study? But yeah, the work market, that's why I believe in decentralization, I think. For example, in ICT, I couldn't find anything for a year, and I think it was only in the capital. So but yeah, I agree. It's a good, it's probably the best reason. So yeah, people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Uh, I mean, I'm not gonna say disagree because I feel you're kind of meddling, with their lifestyle. So I'm gonna say disagree. That's basically my opinion. I mean, if you like someone, then I don't think this should be dictated by. I mean, this is police stating. I don't believe in, so no, disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Disagree because that can cause some fear in people. I don't think that's going to help their education. But on some level it can be good. So it depends on your learning process. But for some people it can work. But I'm just gonna say disagree because I don't think it automatically works for everybody. So, but for me, I guess it kind of works because my teacher was kind of fair. So yeah, it depends on people. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah, I strongly agree because I do think culture. I mean, this again is sort of a trick question. I feel because I don't believe there's a bad culture either. I believe there's bad values within a culture. There can be like a culture that can have good things, and then it can be bad things, like witch hunt or stuff like that in the past. Um, yeah, but I kind of agree with the premise of this. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Uh, no, I don't agree with that one. I mean, I think you should try your best if the at least if it's not sweatshop work, then you should do your best to um, try your best to in your capability of what you want to do in your life. But I don't think you should cut someone off just because they don't take it. But yeah, I think you should try, but yeah, I don't agree with the with just giving it a boot if you yeah. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Um, no, I don't agree because I think you may be overlooking some fundamental flaws. Um, but in terms of motivating yourself, for example, in exercise, then it's better not to think and just go for it. But if it's some heavy stuff, then you may read some books. I mean, information can kill some ignorance and stuff. So I don't agree with that premise because you may actually overlooking some stuff. So. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Um, disagree. Let's see here. No, because you get as long as you do your best, and I don't agree with this one. It depends really just how well society is acceptable to help in the best way. Then I think you get along fine. So I don't agree with that one. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Strongly disagree. Nah, depends. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Uh, All right, so let's continue. Um, okay, so let's where we started off here. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Um, hmm, I mean, I guess I disagree. I mean, it's kind of a free market, isn't it? So I guess I'm gonna say disagree. Okay, test. Let's see, test 4 of 6. And how you see the wider society. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Um, well, um, I mean, I don't feel like it, but I guess you can sort of make some arguments, like some, let's take, for example, the 9/11. I mean, it was a horrible tragedy, but, there's some arguments whether Iraq war was neither or not, so I guess I can agree to that. Um, or there's also the whole idea of privacy and but yeah I guess I guess I haven't experienced it, but I guess I can see some point there. I mean, for example, I think the Iraq war was just an excuse to end to continue from the Gulf War era. I don't think it had anything to do with actual terrorism by 9/11, but that's just my fear on it, at least, because the history of that was because Saddam Hussein attacked Kuwait. Most likely because the Iran war in the 80s that Iraq was warring with, they made a lot of debt. So probably attacking Kuwait to remove those debts was the kind of their way to kind of take a shortcut on that one. And that's sort of when United States, as an ally to the Saudis, the Saudi Arabia, at least allies of Saudi Arabia, at least, with the United States being the ally counterpart. So yeah, kind of when they turned sour, basically. But Afghanistan was more of a legit target because there was, first of all, there's a little bit of a troubled history because USA kind of trained the Mujahideen, which was not the Taliban, but it became a faction of it later. Uh, in terms of extremists, extreme jihadists, which was political Islam. It's not the same as religious people, but it had political extremist motive from that war. And so they attacked first the American embassies in the 90s, and then suddenly, I mean, there was an attempt in 1993 World Trade Center attack, but that failed. It wasn't until 2001 when it was with Bin Laden was the man in charge who, basically that fell, and yeah, and because of the training by Taliban of terrorist jihadists, that Afghanistan became the target for the war on terror by Americans. So but yeah, I definitely can agree that civil liberties can be in the name of terrorism. I mean, I'm not I don't have any Arab descent or anything like that, but I definitely can agree. I mean, some may say strongly agree, but you know, what do I know? I'm not born there, but I'm just gonna say agree because I do think some measurement has to be, against terrorism, to keep a country safe. So I do agree that there have to be some sort of protection. But yeah, I can definitely see, on some level, I can see it that abuse definitely is not cool. So, a significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Is that it avoids all the arguments that delay. Yeah, I guess strongly agree. I mean, China. Um, so yeah, if you try to criticize the regime, I bet you won't get much help there. So yeah, so like the Tiananmen Square, one example. So yeah, I don't think it actually. Yeah. So yeah, I strongly agree. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. I strongly disagree. Probably some manipulation depending on country. So the death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly disagree. I mean, punishing criminals, I think, actually amplifies them. I think it's actually more a punishment to have them live with what they've done rather than actually punishing them. Because I actually think real criminals, even innocent people who cheer for punishing criminals are actually criminals themselves because, you kind of are cheering for crime and not solving it. But if you just let them live with their crime, then they're actually gonna that's actually gonna hurt more than actually amplifying it. So I strongly disagree. I don't think capital punishment is okay. I think rehabilitation is more my thing. So in a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Uh, I mean, I guess authority figures that is representative of election. There's a thing in that, but I strongly disagree because that's sort of giving this idea that that the people don't have a choice. So I'm going to say strongly I disagree. Yeah, so strongly disagree. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I remember we had this joke in class when I was younger. Someone having a toilet was considered art. So yeah, we definitely don't consider that art. But over the years, I kind of have to say disagree, but I kind of agree a little bit if it's ridiculous. But if it's creative and it kind of works, and I don't think it shouldn't be considered art. But I guess it depends on the context, I guess. So if it's made with effort, I guess. But yeah, I guess it depends. I'm gonna say disagree. In criminal justice, uh, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Strongly disagree. As I said before, I don't think it solves anything. I think it makes more criminals than it solves it. So it is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. Strongly disagree. As I said before, the business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Strongly disagree. Obviously, people need to fund, you know, but it's overall the quality of it that matters. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm gonna say strongly disagree. I mean, there's also open source, so I don't think they got paid. So I strongly disagree. Open source products like Firefox or something like that. So yeah, I don't think. I mean, obviously you need capital, so there's some stuff in that, but yeah, in the end, it's our activity that creates stuff. So I don't think those are above people who have ideas or are geniuses. So no, I don't agree. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Strongly disagree. Um, I do think it's good to be a parent, but I think there is some argument on depending on what kind of relationship you have on who stays at home and who get to work. But in the end, though, yeah, I think it depends on the situation, so I don't agree with that at all. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Um, well, I guess there's exploitation on foreign lands at least, so I guess I kind of agree on that. But I don't know about plant genetic resources because I'm a little bit unsure on that one. What does that mean? Let me just search it up. Okay, so I looked it up. I think it has something to do with agricultural. Um, and there's also been some ethical arguments on whether genetic, food is good or not because it kind of adds some artificial stuff in it. So, um, At least that we had that in class was kind of interesting to discuss. But yeah, I guess I kind of agree. You know, depends on the context, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna say agree. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Uh, I mean, because I disagree because not all regime are good, but I mean, it's kind of hard to say because I mean, because you kind of have to make peace sometimes, but not to the point where you give up your own freedom or rights. So I'm gonna say sort of disagree on that one, but yeah, you gotta get a compromise, obviously. If you got through that, okay, you'll find these propositions of religion are breeze. Okay. Astrology accurately explain many things. Astrology, let me think. Um, I mean, disagree. I mean, I'm not into that, but I don't mind it. It's fun. I'm not gonna be totally strong if people are into it, but not for me. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. It's more like institutions. I mean, I think that, for example, I mean, Abrahamic one has a very much the whole idea of creating people just to worship him. So there's more system of rules on authority figures. Uh, I mean, the whole idea of it. I mean, it feels like it was made more for spiteful purposes than truth to me. So no, I don't think. I think you can be moral without being religious. It's about. I mean, for example, in Western culture, in Protestant or secular times, it's a more been focus of work culture. Overall, type of. I think actually memes play a bigger part than religion in terms of moral values, really. So even then, I don't think religion played that huge part of moral values. It's just the establishment that has authority on issues. It was just bigger in the past as well, and there's still some left though. But yeah, I strongly disagree. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Um, I mean, I mean, what if you can't get it? So no, I disagree. But I don't know. I see it as the same thing, isn't it? Depends on what you define it. But no, I don't agree because not all you can't always get it everywhere. So I don't agree. Some people are naturally unlucky. Um, yeah, I guess I disagree because skills and talents, even if you are unlucky, you never know. So I don't agree with that one. There's certain skills that may you maybe excel at than others. So even if you had a handicap or something, I don't think so. It is important that my child's school instills religious values, and I don't think so. I believe, I believe obviously in religious freedom, but I'm not that I'm not that picky about it. So so I don't agree. Finally, a look at sex. Okay, sex outside marriage. Let's see. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. I mean, if you like someone, who cares? A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. No, as long as you're being capable parents, and I don't care. I mean, as long as you have the best interest, then that's cool. Pornography, depiction consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. There's some interesting arguments on whether pornography is harmful or not. And there's kind of both sides spectrum, whether it's religious people, they have different reasons. And then there is, people who are more humanists or more people who may have concern on whether it depicts exploitation or love. Um, should be legal. I mean, I guess I guess I don't want to ban it, so I'm not gonna say agree. Let's see. All right, so where was I? What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. Because I mean it's your life. So consenting adults, yeah, you should not have any business there. So yeah, I agree with that. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Um, I mean, I disagree. It's uh, it's basically you may think, well, where do I stand now? I think it's sort of like a little bit of weird political take on both sides here, on the left and the right, because religious people say you aren't you choose to be gay, you aren't born, and that's wrong. But in terms of like the LGBT, they say that you are born gay. I think they're both wrong in the sense that you are genetically altered in terms of what you're attracted to, and that can be homosexuality or other stuff. But I think, in the sense, it also wires to your mindset of that attraction. So I don't believe in the scientific way of saying you are born or whether you choose. I just think you are altered by attraction. But some may say that it's born. Uh, but let me think here. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Uh, But yeah, I'm gonna say disagree because I mean it is biology, in terms of your attractions and what you're into. But yeah, I think it's more of you're born with a certain attraction, and that can be homosexuality or other stuff. But yeah, I think it's sort of how your brain is wired to that kind of attraction. It can be as simple as being into socks on humans. That's just my answer to it. I just think there's too much political takes on it and not so much. I don't know, but feel free to disagree or agree on that. But that's just yeah, my take on it. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Uh, nah, I'm gonna say disagree. I don't think so. I mean, it's. I think expression is fine. I have no problem with it. So, now let's see where you stand. Okay, okay. Let's take this away. About the political compass, the starting point of the original political compass was in 2001, when we recognized the inadequacies of the standard political measure, left to right. Um, it's certainly fine for discussing economics, but to this day, it's still widely and wrongly used to describe social attitudes. France's National Front, for example, is popularly described as far right, yet its economic policies have sometimes been to the left of even the French Socialist Party. The party's real extremism is in its social attitudes. That's why we added a social scale. Okay? Um, okay, so here's like the scale, I think. State imposed collectivism, that's authoritarian left here, economic scale, and then authoritarian right, which would be like Trump, Putin, and stuff. I guess this is more like Stalin and the type of yeah, people in the past, I guess. And Pol Pot, or maybe I shouldn't talk. I don't know much about that guy, so maybe I should not talk about Pol Pot. But he was an anti-intellectual, so I don't know whether that maybe he will be more of a Trump voter, but I don't know, probably something. Voluntary regional collectivism, libertarian left, libertarian right, social scale. Okay, so that's more neutral take, I think, of being a left and right winger. So you're like neutral. You're not extreme, I think. Um, but yeah, that's sort of what the get go, I think. So basically, you don't want to be here. You want to be here, I think. So let's just see here. Okay, so, or I assume so. I'm just gonna read. Libertarian, nevertheless, the more Nevertheless, the more nationalistic and authoritarian a party or individual is, the more right wing they're still labeled. This, of course, is absurd. Taken to its logical conclusion, it means that the further left a country sits, the more socially liberal its attitudes are. On that basis, North Korea must be a shining model of human rights and social freedoms, as a more authoritarian in my view. Conversely, a country may be very right wing, yeah, libertarian, in its economics and be authoritarian at the same time. Singapore is a perfect example. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. uh, I mean, I read about Singapore, but it's sort of like a tourist place for some people, but it's kind of an interesting mix of that. Kind of interesting. It's sort of like almost trying to be liberal, but it has some restrictive stuff. So at least I heard. So I have a question whether it was a democracy or whether it was authoritarian. But I think it's sort of adds some liberal reforms, but it kind of has a little of a hatch of people who have full power. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. The Index of Economic Freedom, produced by the Wall Street Journal and the Conservative Heritage Foundation, hailed Singapore as the economically freest nation on earth in 2021. On the social scale, however, it's a very different story. Human Rights Watch details its reasons for finding Singapore a deeply authoritarian state. Take a look at a few contrasting nations on this chart. Okay, so here we have it. So authoritarian. So you can see, North Korea is definitely there. China is authoritarian, right? But I guess it sort of have something that tries to be liberal, but it's basically authoritarian, right? As you can see. Um, no, it's left. Sorry, I read it wrong. Sorry. So yeah, it's yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So it's very hardcore there, and it's just sort of there. It's not quite right, but you know. And Saudi Arabia is obviously an absolute monarchy, you know. So it's also religious reason probably for that too. And Singapore is on the right, authoritarian right, as you can see here. And then they have libertarian right, which is Switzerland. It's kind of interesting. Uruguay is there, so yeah. Problem economic policies, but you know they aren't authoritarian, but you get the point. Uruguay is currently rated the world's 44th most free economy and a leading Latin American light in social freedoms, from gay and lesbian rights to legislation. Um, uh, I read it wrong. From gay and lesbian rights to legalization of cannabis. Switzerland also has a high rating as a libertarian economy, while at the same time providing a wide range of social welfare programs, in common with the Nordic states and a number of other Western countries. With the exception of its Hong Kong region, China maintains strong economic controls, though fewer than those associated with a more orthodox ruling Communist Party. In recent years, China has shifted closer to the totally repressive social climate of North Korea, where the economy also is under the absolute control of the state. Saudi Arabia has veered further towards a libertarian economy in recent times, but with no relaxation of its sweeping authoritarian powers. Okay, so your political compass. So that probably me. That's what I answered. Okay, so economic left right 6.63. Social libertarian authoritarian. Wow. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, show your chart in a separate window for printing. Claim your free political compass certificate. A personalized political compass certificate showing your own position is available online. Let's just scroll through it just to see. Mm, let's see. Okay, so basically, I seem to be on the Libertarian left, I see. Economic left, right. Social libertarian. Hmm, interesting. Okay, so I guess was interesting. Okay, so we can see that's basically my chart right here. So this test was interesting. Let me know what you think about this. Thank you for listening and bye.